YGO Strat Single Card Discussion is going to be talking about some of the cards that have impacted Yu-Gi-Oh! Throughout the years. Today's card, the savior from the hand trap meta, Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave was first released in the TCG in the Extreme Force Special Edition in March of 2018 as a sneak peek for its true debut set, Flames of Destruction, released in May of 2018. Notable reprints include the 2019 Megaton Mega Pack, the Dual Devastator set in 2019, and Maximum Gold in 2020. The card was first hit on the ban list in September of 2018, where it was semi-limited to 2 copies before going back to 3 in December of the same year. It stayed at 3 for a few formats after that, before finally being limited in September of 2020, where it has stayed as of this video. A quick play spell card, its effect reads: target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, and if you do, until the end of the next turn, its effects are negated, as well as the activated effects and effects on the field of monsters with the same original name. Called by is one of Yu-Gi-Oh's simpler cards with stronger implications. The easiest and most obvious thing the card does is stop hand traps. Whether you're a paper player or someone on Master Duel, once you've played long enough, you understand how powerful and important hand traps are. Ash Blossom, Maxi, Effect Veiler, and countless more cards that when played at the right time can end a turn, and in doing so even end a duel. I think just about everyone has had a solid hand turn into a very bad one after one very well-timed Ash from the opponent, and while back in 2017 all we could do was cry about it, with Called by the Grave we could finally do something about it. It adds another layer of gameplay into the ever-expanding game of hand traps, and is insurance against some of the most common and impactful cards in the game. But Called by is blessed with the gift of being a quick play spell, one of the strongest classes of cards in the game, at least in my opinion, so while it can be used on your own turn to insulate your plays, it can also be set and chained on the opponent's turn to disrupt their plays. Remember, it can negate the effects of any monster, not just hand traps, meaning if your opponent is playing multiple copies of a card and is trying to use their second copy of it in a duel, you can use Called by to banish the one in their graveyard to negate the one's effects on field. Trying to resolve your second copy of Moye, or your Stratos of choice in whatever archetype they're playing, there's a Called by the Grave for that. And it can be used in response to an effect that targets in the grave, something like Monster Reborn or a very resilient Sir Dante loop. Any grave shenanigans of your choice that involve targeting are disrupted by Called by the Grave. It's a very powerful card with a wide range of applications, though it's not perfect. It can't stop all hand traps, something like Infinite Impermanence is wholly unaffected by it, and more often than not the opponent won't have given you a second Nibiru in their graveyard for you to negate the first one, and also while it is known as the hand trap killer in some ways, Ghost Bell in Haunted Mansion is actually a hand trap that will stop the hand trap killer. Just a little fun fact for you. It also is a card with text on it, which means players are sure to overlook parts of it. It negates the card's effects until the end of the next turn, not till the end of that turn. Meaning if you use Called by the Grave on your opponent's Ash Blossom, your Ash Blossom on their turn will also be negated, something that's a little easy to forget if you're ever playing in paper. While combo decks may cry at its limiting in the TCG, it's an understandable thing as to why it happened. The card was in a large number of decks, and at a point it almost felt mandatory to play if you wanted a chance for your plays to go off. It also still feels mandatory if I want my plays to go off limited to 1, but I can see why from a deck building perspective they would maybe want less copies of it in everyone's deck. Overall, Called by the Grave is a powerful and versatile card, one that can be played both offensively and defensively, and even if it stays limited for some long time after this video's release, it will continue to see play due to the impact it can have on a duel. As long as hand traps are a part of the game, this card will be a staple. And that's our look at single card discussions, Called by the Grave. Stay tuned for our next video, and feel free to suggest some cards to review or what type of video you'd like to see. Don't forget to like and subscribe to YGO Strats so that you too can become a true duelist.